just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're a fan of the flame, so why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. And still battling with Kuba.
You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come. I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. Give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you all.
But he's gone wide! Speedy's going incredible!
Take it, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed, we would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment. And every fire starts with a spark. A revolution. Stand up. 'Cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment. Every fire starts with a spark. A revolution.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel.
Hello, 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 and welcome to FRLT season number 6, and it is the qualifiers for no assists. The trailer took a little bit longer than I thought it would, even though I should know by now. But we come to Monza, as you could see, 5.793 kilometers, 3.599 miles, 11 turns. And, yeah, not a lot of elevation, not a lot of changes. Cut under the bridge, that's the biggest amount of elevation change on the track. We've also got the calendar for this as well. We have the calendar. So, in the end, this is I've got the teams as well on here for this first race. I've got all for this race. I've got all of the teams. So the first lobby has OMB in the Red Bull, VRE in the Williams, VTX in the Ferrari, TFR in the McLaren, and ESPL in the RB, or the VCARB, either one you want to call it. But we are already into qualifying once my screen turns away from black. Once OBS decides to do its thing. There we go. OBS has finally decided to wake up a little bit today. It's been like this all day long. But it's time to get on with this evening. As you can see, that is me watching my own stream, and it just blasted at full volume because I want to make sure nothing breaks on the stream. So don't mind that. Don't mind that problem. But let's ride on board with Nico Rassenberg. On the first lap, it is TFR to lead away this evening. Let's see how he's going to do. Heading down towards turn 1, braking at about the 100-meter mark, and through turn 1, turn 2, taking a bit more of a wider line, choosing to go around the corners more. Now making his way down through the long turn 3, one of the longest turns on the entire calendar, by the way. In meters, I believe it is the longest turn. Now, into turn 4 and 5, you've got to get this chicane right. It's more of an open chicane than turn 1 and turn 2, but it's also faster through the first Lesmo. Now into the second Lesmo. You've got to get Lesmo 2 right. And he does pretty well with that. Not too bad for himself. Now heading down towards this next section. This is the hardest section, I think, for track limits wise. Into the left. And he goes over it. It's an invalidation for Nico Rassenberg on his lap. And that is his run done. Next is actually Jonas Adam, who will ride on board with as he makes his way around. He's on the medium tyres. We saw a lot of that in the assists qualifiers on Wednesday. We saw a lot of drivers going for those medium tyres for some strange reason. A lot of drivers went for the medium tyres. And this evening we're going to be doing, of course, you get that extra run on the mediums. And across the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 17.680 to start off qualifiers this evening. As that's the first lap time. Jonas Mivolt can only go into a 1 minute 18.5. Officially 18.6. So quite a bit slower there from himself. We got Juan coming across the line. He can only go P5. So not the best so far. We do have Joaquin Vigley on his way round. Let's see, how can the VRE driver do? We know he's had a lot of experience in FRLT, 1 pole, and I think 3 or 4 podiums now, just across last season alone. He did all that in one singular season, leading VRE to a good finish, and he goes P2, and it is a 1 minute 17.919 to start off. And there goes Sipox Balaz, who goes into a 17.944. So already some lap times being pretty strong from drivers. We're already seeing some incredibly strong lap times this evening. I think we've got Carl Potter. We saw him on Wednesday driving as well. Have we got anyone else? Marcel Biega is on an outlap at the moment. I think he'll be the next driver to actually, I think, start a lap. No, it's not. It is going to be... He hasn't got enough fuel, so it will be Marcel Biega to start off the next full run. So, let's watch. His teammate, Joaquin, went into a 17.9. Can Marcel follow with a 17.9 as well? Only 5 drivers out of the 10 have completed their first runs. We know Marcel is yet to do his first run. So 4 drivers have failed to cross the line and complete a lap. We've now got the final one. So will it be 60% of the grid doing it, or will it just be 50? Let's see. Through the first sector, it's going to be a 25.824 for the first sector. Very strong in assists. We were seeing a 25.8 being roughly about the quickest first sector we saw. And through Ooh, getting all over the curbs there through Lesmo 1 and through Lesmo 2 now. He's pushing it all the way up to the track limits, opening the rear wing once again for the final time as he heads under the old part of Monza. Massive curve now into the left, hanging it through the right, over the curb on the left, swinging around perfectly within track limits. No problems there. That VRE car looking stuck to the ground right now as we head down towards the final corner. You've got to get this corner right. Marcel gets the corner pretty nicely, washing out a little bit wide, but that's exactly what you need to do. And heading up to line, what is Marcel Biega going to do? It's going to be a 1 minute 17.500, a 17.5 on the dot from Marcel Biega. And a good first run. 6 drivers out of the 10 have now had at least 1 lap done. And a very impressive lap from Marcel Biega there, finding 0.180 tenths over second place. So already finding a decent chunk of time. Of course, there's less drivers on track, so traffic isn't so much a problem. Of course, we saw on Wednesday, traffic was quite a big problem for drivers on their runs. But of course, the smallest lobby we had on Wednesday for assists was 12 drivers. We then expanded to 14 and then 16 drivers in the final lobby. So slowly going up and up and up, of course, which was very interesting to see. It was incredibly interesting. 42 drivers competed on Wednesday. 42 drivers competed in qualifiers. Today, we have only got 22 drivers competing in the qualifiers, but still quite a lot of drivers, still 22 cars. Only one team won't make it. 11 teams are qualify in the qualifiers. Only 10 will get through. So we'll have to see. Modanito making his way around 52.1 for that middle sector as he runs over. And it's an invalidation. A couple of drivers doing that now. So we've seen a couple of people doing that so far in... this evening. And a 25.729 from Nico Rassenberg in the first sector, finding a 10th over Marcel Biega's first sector. Incredibly fast from himself. Just ridiculously fast there from the FR driver. Unbelievably fast to see from Nico Rassenberg. 51.577 for a middle sector as well. He's really pushing the car through the corners. Again, much like real life, that McLaren looks stuck to the track and is doing a good job at the moment. Heading down towards the final corner now. The straight can be quite boring. He's just sitting there waiting through the final corner. Nico Rassenberg pushing the car all the way he can as he makes his way up to the line. Across the line, it is just 15 thousandths slower than Marcel Biega, but is P2 for Nico Rassenberg. Remember, the times aren't just the best lap time from a single driver. It depends on both drivers. They both have to do well on their laps. They can't both do poor. They can't just one do well and the other one does poorly. But one again, Johan making another mistake and another invalidation, and P8 still without a lap time. And the default lap time, if you don't get a lap time or the second driver doesn't turn up, is a 1 minute 23, which pretty much you're going to get knocked out with. Joaquin Vigli is on another lap though. He's pushing hard. Into the final corner he goes. Very different line we see from Joaquin there compared to Marcel. He's getting a lot closer to that inside curb. Using a bit more of the track, and across the line, Joaquin finds 0.3 of a second to go to a 17.614. And that's a massive amount of lap time he's found. Jonas Adam is going slowly at the moment. I don't think he's pushing. No, he's not. He's invalidated on his lap. Carl Potter is pushing though, and he's pushing all the way around, still without a lap altogether. ESPL struggling a bit. They got knocked out in assists. They got knocked out. I think they were about 16th, 17th in the grid out of the total of 21 teams. They were 16th or 17th. I think they were about 16th or 17th in total. And across the line, it's an 18.0 from Car Potter. So at the moment, they're looking at a 21 as a 20.5 as an average at the moment between the 2 drivers as his teammate does not have a lap yet. So it's all going to come down to this. The next couple of drivers are on out laps at the moment, and Quinn is on an in lap. Do we have a Red Bull coming around quickly? Yes, we do. It's Sitbox making his way round. His teammate currently 6/10 behind him, so we're looking at an 18.2 on that as an average. So at the moment, I've got to say, a couple of teams struggling a little bit with the lap times. Teams maybe not fully dialed in to where they want to be. And coming up to the line, Sitbox finds 3/10 and just jumps ahead of her Quinn Vigley by 0.004 of a second, but you can see the driver's getting quite a bit closer now. Less than a 1/10.5 split, well, a 1/10.25, I should say, split first to fifth now. So it's getting a lot closer in the grid. Got Jonas Mirvolt making his way round once again. Carl Potter slowly grinding round. Then we've got Moidenito, who has not invalidated this time and is making his way up towards the line. He's got to get this final corner right. Really, ESPL will be hoping for some decent lap times here because we're seeing OMB struggling a little bit for lap times. And across the line, it's going to be an 18.324. So we're looking at about an 18.1 from ESPL at the moment. So there's definitely some room for improvement there. Marcel Biega has invalidated, so he pulls into the pits. We've got Fishley coming up to the line. He's also pulling into the pits, 18.6 from himself. Not looking too good at VTX. They're looking like they're quite far off of the pace right now, just over a second splitting them. So that'll be about an 18.0 to maybe an 18.1 at worst. So at the moment, it is very spread out between some of these guys. It's not looking good for some. Sipox on his way back in. Jonas Mirvolt is driving incredibly quickly at the moment in that Red Bull. And he's up by almost 0.4 of a second, so he's going to jump to at least P7. But the big thing for OMB here is to not be last. That's the main thing at the moment. Now, from the lap times I'm seeing, last place currently sits with ESPL as it stands. Would sit with FR because of that default lap time, Nico Rosenberg and Johan. But a good improvement to P6 for Jonas Mirvolt to 18.0. As it stands, that should put them roughly in safety of being in about a 1 minute 17.8. So it should put them a little bit more safe than others. So that should be a bit of an improvement. Jonas Adam, I believe, is on another fast lap. Apologies. Jonas Adam making his way around. Finally, had to respond to something. But 600's up in his lap time at the moment. Using all of that curve. You can see the Ferrari pushing itself all the way around. But up by 600s, that will push him to P1. But at the moment, his teammate is far behind. Just about 1.1 seconds behind currently. So there's a pretty big gap in the pack right now. And coming up to the line, Jonas Adam does go fastest and into a 17.488 for his lap time. Very, very strong. Only driver out on track right now is, of course, Jonas Adam. But I've got to say, 17.488, 12 thousandths quicker than Marcel Biega. But this battle over fastest is very close. I mean, just it's so incredibly close. Less than a 10.5 splitting first to fifth at the moment. But then you've kind of got sixth down to sort of eighth, kind of quite close, and then ninth and 10th on their own. So it's going to be interesting. We got Marcel Biega. He's out for another lap. And so is his teammate Quinn Vigley. Both VRE drivers setting off early. Remember, this is the first lobby. So they don't know what... They know, you know, it's... Whenever you're in the first lobby, it's always difficult. Because you don't know where you are exactly. You don't know how the second lobby is going to go. For instance, like assists, we saw the first lobby push all out they can first lobby was overall the fastest lobby as well, and had the fastest qualifying time, had the fastest lap time out of any of the 3 lobbies. Not by much, but still had the quickest. And that purely came down to the thing of they didn't know how the other 2 lobbies were going to do because they were quite mixed. Now, it's not exactly the same here because, as many might have noticed, only teams to have raced before in this lobby is OMB and VRE. The rest, the other 3 haven't, and currently sit lower in pace. But the second lobby is very stacked as well. It's a different sort of stacked. It's, you know, we might be seeing an interesting. It's the battle of kind of for that last position. Who's going to finish last? And at the moment, it's kind of, you know, my prediction has kind of been between VTX, ESPL, and then the second lobby, DLX. Kind of those 3 have kind of been sitting there. So at the moment for VTX and ESPL, they've really got to push in this first lobby so they don't get knocked out. But Marcel Biega, first sector finished and up by 37 thousandths of a second. Currently, that would stick him on pole position once again in the fastest time. But at the moment, VRE... Whoa! With a big mistake for Marcel Biega. Is that the end to his session? I think it is. And the fastest man out on track has now ended his qualifying early. So that is all he can do. What is his teammate doing? Joaquin Vigley has also invalidated. And so, I do believe that is VRE locked in P2 and P5 for the moment. They are locked in there. They cannot move. They don't have enough fuel for another run. And that is going to be very risky. But I do think they should be able to qualify with a 17.5. So I don't think they will struggle to qualify at all. Marcel Biega now retires. I think we'll see the same from Joaquin Vigley. But those are the first 2 drivers finished. Jonas Adam as well is still in the pits. So he's also finished with his run. He's coming on provisional pole. So at the moment, 3 drivers now finished with this. Only 7 drivers remain. And Juan Paulos has not done a lap as he invalidates once again. It's not ESPL, TFR. FR might have just knocked themselves out. FR might be out of the qualifiers. They might be done. I think that is it for them. That's that. He's finished. Then we've got Modenito, who comes across the line. He goes up to P8. So a strong lap for himself. Jonas Mivolt is also improving a bit. He's going to jump back up to P6 in the end. Then we've got more drivers across the line. We've got Fishley, who's down on his lap. He's not improving, so that's going to be him done. Then we've got Sipox, who crosses the line. Sipox goes fastest of all. He finds even more time, and that's exactly what he needed. And in the end, I don't think he's actually on pole. No, he's not. He did not go fastest of all. I think Nico Rassenberg was just able to get that in. Yes, he was. So let's go through it. Nico Rassenberg goes fastest of all, followed by Sipox Balaz, Jonas Adam, Marcel Biega, Joaquin Vigley, Jonas Mivolt, Meludanito, Carl Potter, Fishley, and Juan Paulos. That is that. And I've got to say, for FR, from the current chance, they're just going to be hoping and praying that someone in the second lobby fails to get in a lap. That's the only chance they have now. So if all 6 teams complete not just one driver getting a lap, but their second driver getting a lap better than a 1 minute 23, probably something like a 1 minute 20 or 1 minute 19, they have qualified. So that's that. That is FR now. I feel like it's the second lobby is very much going to be the decide on whether FR qualify or not, because at the moment, if I was being completely honest with you, I do not think they will qualify. they would currently not be in the qualifying range. The lowest lap time we had on average in assists was a 1 minute 19.2, and it's now 1 minute 21. So FR's mistake has left them most likely without a drive and becoming the reserve for season 6. You know, I do want to say I think some of it comes down to being unlucky. You know, I cannot disagree that some of it is very unlucky. You know, it is quite bad luck to come across having a, you know, it looked like there was a decent chance at it. You know, there looked like there was a decent chance. And especially with Nico Rassenberg going fastest, it made it look all just possible. But just, it's going to be very difficult now for FR to qualify. I'm genuinely sort of sitting here thinking, can they qualify? Because if we think about it, it's going to be difficult. Hello, Tristan. Welcome to the stream. I might have missed your comment, but it looks like pure disappointment at FR. It looks like pure disappointment. I could just see already. They just seem to know that they are out of this season. They'll be sitting as reserves. Like I said, it's incredibly unlucky to have that. But let's have a quick look through a couple of other things before we go for a short break before the second lobby and the final lobby of the night. So let's have a look through. Here is the track. We are at Monza, 5.793 kilometers, 3.599 miles, 11 turns, 2 death zones down the pit straight and down that back straight. Not a lot of elevation changes, just slight bits, but not too much. The biggest elevation change being under the bridge, under the old track. Looking at the calendar for this season as well, it's looking incredibly interesting. Just to point out, the dates on the left, so like 12, 19, and 26, are force assists. And the dates on the right, 15, 22, and 29, so forth going downwards, are for no assists. It's the same for qualifiers, as you can see, 5th and 8th. So the first race will be next week on the 15th. We go to China for the opening race of the season. Then we head over to our short European stint that we have for this season, the first, and that one little European sprint stint we're going to have that goes to Austria, Imola, and Great Britain. And then before the end of the year, to end off 2025 here in FRLT, we'll be going to Australia on the 13th of December. So we have just under a month of racing. We have just under a month of racing before we reach the final race of 2025, and at Australia, of course. And then we'll return on the 10th. Yes, we've got to wait almost a month. I know, almost a month before we get some new racing, but we'll be racing 2026 at that point, and we'll be going to Singapore. Toughest track, I think, on the calendar, excluding Monaco. It is incredibly tough, but incredibly fun. Then we go, yes, we'll return to Monza then in January, then Brazil, and then the Netherlands to end off the first month of 2026. Then the season will end in February at Las Vegas, and then Japan on the 14th of February, 2026. But yeah, it's just an incredible calendar. For me, this is probably, I think I mentioned this on Wednesday in the assists qualifiers. This is probably my favorite calendar I've had in any of the seasons. I mean, you know, this is the first 11 race calendar that we have for our top tier of either assists or no assists. It's the first time that that two tiers are running the exact same calendar as well. It's the first time that we're doing that. The last time we had an 11 race calendar was in season 2 with tier 2. That was the last time we had, and that was tier 2 assists. So going back, by the way, over a year ago, back to summer of 2024 was the last time we had an 11 race calendar for a tier. Outside of that, we've had, we also had fours in season 5, which also had an 11 race calendar. So we've not had a lot of 11 race calendars, but we've got that. Lots of interesting tracks. We've of course got a bit of North and South America in there with Las Vegas, Brazil. Brazil. We come in with North and South America a bit. We go in with a bit of Asia as well. We've got Japan in there. We've got Singapore and we've got China. We've got pretty much all the 3 Asian tracks you can go to. It's absolutely brilliant. We've got Europe. We've got Austria, Imola, Great Britain. We've got Monza in there, and the Netherlands, like usual. But I've got to say also we've got Australia in there to add on to it. So we've got a very interesting, very dynamic calendar. But with that, we will be opening the second lobby very soon. So we will head off to a little break where you will watch our lovely Season 6 trailer. And I'll be back very shortly. See you then.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're fanning the flame. So why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. I'm still battling with Kuba.
You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come. I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. Give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you all.
But he's gone wide! Speedy's going incredible!
Take a chance and win, alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. try to hide it if a new thought formed me would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment, and every fire starts with a spark. A revolution. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause this is the moment, and every fire starts with a spark. A revolution.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're fan and flame. So why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. I'm still battling with Kuba.
You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come. I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices and guide you. Give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you all.
But he's gone wide! He's going incredible!
Ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed me would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are.
And we are back. Yes, we are back now, and it is great. So, we have returned for the second lobby of the evening, by the way. Lobby number 2. Yes. We are here for lobby number 2. This time we've got 6 teams that are driving instead of 5, so we'll be having 12 drivers. We've got one driver whose game is sadly updating. Terrible time for it to update. Really, I've got to say, it is. I've never heard of such bad luck before. But we move on. We move on. We get going. So currently we're just waiting on 5 drivers. I know one is updating their game, so we're only really waiting on 4. And looking at it, I think I know which 4 we're waiting on. We are currently waiting on 1RB, which is so in this second lobby. I'll just point out quickly. We have Ventari in the Red Bulls, FCT in the RBs. We've got AZR in the Williams, AERT in the McLaren, SET in the Mercedes, and DLX in the Aston Martin. And so we're just waiting on everyone to join. We have now gotten all the Williams, all the McLarens, gotten both Mercedes. So we've got 3 teams in here, and we've got another half. So we are waiting on DLX right now, who seem to be a little bit missing from this. So qualifiers might already be sorted, who knows? But either way, we've got both Ventaris are also in now, so pretty much everyone is in. We're just waiting on 3 drivers. For the moment, we are waiting on 3 lovely drivers to join up. I haven't seen any role requests for drivers for DLX, so I'm not entirely sure. So we're waiting on DLX at the moment for their drivers, because I haven't seen. I saw a lineup. I did see a lineup. I just haven't seen. So yeah. So we are just waiting. Hello, Justin. Welcome. Welcome. So we are waiting. So I've got to give this person roles. Oh my god. Nobody's. I'm so sorry for this one person. I do apologise, people. We are going to get going underway very soon, but we're just waiting. We are waiting on this one person. There we go. Now it's through. So, I just want to point out, it's no one's fault. So I'll send an extra invite for luck. So we should be getting underway very, very shortly. As soon as everything goes through. Can we get... We might be able to get him in at this rate. We'll have to wait and see, because he's being interesting. Okay, he's joining now. This might actually be a little bit interesting. Okay. The one DLX driver's having problems. Oh no. Please, bro. Please. Okay, I think DLX are in now. I think DLX are now going to be racing, so we are good. I think we should be okay now. So everything should be fine. Everything should be working. But again, I'm a little bit frustrated that roles weren't requested for these guys. And everyone's in. So we should be good to go now, finally. We should finally be good to go. Okay, we're good to go. But let's go through a couple of things. Here is the track map. 5.793 kilometers, 3.599 miles, 11 turns, 2 DRS zones down the pit straight and down that back straight. And I've got to say, my favourite corners of 2 Lesmos, turns 6 and 7. Those are my favourite corners, the double right-hander. We are at Monza, as you can see, down in the title. Here is the calendar for this season. I spoke about this before we took our little intermission before Lobby 2. And now here we are for Lobby 2. So here's the calendar. We've got China, Austria, Imola, Great Britain, and Australia. Australia being the finale, the final race of FRLT in 2025, which is crazy. Then we've got Singapore in the new year, Monza, Brazil, Netherlands, Las Vegas, and the finale happening in Japan. Now, going through the teams that are in today's lobby. Yes, there are some people to go through that are in today's lobby. The teams that are racing in lobby 2 are Ventauri, or VNT, that you might see, FCT, AZR, AERT, SET, and DLX. Specifically, Ventauri in the Red Bulls, FCT in the RB, AZR in the Williams, AERT in the McLarens, SET in the Mercedes, and DLX in the Aston Martins. But the big question now, the biggest question of today, as we see the first drivers pour out onto the track, with, I think that is Michael Heidrich, who's on his way out of the pits with FRT Caden, who is racing for AERT. I think we've also seen Shadow come out of the pits as well. So we've got 3 drivers now to be 4 drivers out on track with Noah Raza. But it's now between DLX and VTX for this 10th spot. Since VTX, they had 1 driver complete the lap. They had 1 driver complete their lap, complete a lap, and he went fastest of all into a 1 minute 1 minute 17.4, I believe it was, or 0.3. Sorry, I think it was a 17.3. But their second driver couldn't complete a run, couldn't complete a single lap. So with that, it has now left them with a default time for their second driver of 1 minute 23. So they're sitting at about a 1 minute 20. At about 1 minute 20. About 1 minute 20. 1 minute, I think 20. I think 1 minute 21. 1 minute 20.1.2, somewhere around there. So that's the time to beat. But the first driver to start a lap in Lobby 2 is Michael Heidrich for AZR, making his way down towards Turn 1, down this long pit straight, DRS open, you can see reaching 213 miles per hour before hitting Turn 1 on the brakes hard. You've got to get the car turned in. I said in Lobby 1 that this would be the lobby to really watch out for who's going to do well and who isn't, and who from Lobby 1 will qualify and who won't. We know only 1 team won't qualify, but it's really going to now matter on this second lobby. 25.886 for the first sector. Very, very strong from Michael Heidrich. We've seen some strong times. We've seen a lot of 1 minute 25.8s in that first sector. We've seen a couple of drivers hit that already in Lobby 1. I believe 4 drivers already hit that. So there were quite a few drivers quite strong in the first lobby. But heading down under the old part of the track, 51.8 for the middle sector. So very strong. Michael Heidrich really pushing the track limits all the way he can. Heading down this back straight now. It's very important that you don't mess up at all. Into the final corner goes the AZR driver, heading up to the line now. Where is Michael Heidrich going to set? Where's he going to set his time? 1 minute 17.891. Beaten by Caden to a 17.858. Immediately beaten. Shadow comes into the pit, so he's clearly not happy with his run. Noah Raza has invalidated his lap, and so he's done. I think we've got Vettel coming up to the line next, who's setting a very impressive time, but it's only an 18.1 when he crosses the line, so not the best. And then there goes Ventari Fern in the Red Bull. 17.7 beaten by Rayan Camporsi to a 1 minute 17.459. Absolutely beaten in the lap time. Over 3/10 quicker on the first run. Oh my god. What monster is this? Neil Gout only goes P7. So at the moment, Neil Gout's done a 23.7. It's Ventari who currently, I just got to say, it's Ventari who be out at the moment. They are currently on their way to be out of the qualifiers. They are 11th in the lap times. They're not actually 11th. I think it's only DLX. It's actually a few teams, of course. They haven't fully completed their runs, but oh, crazy. DLX Power goes P5 as well, so pretty strong. 17.9, what he needed. But Nailgout is on lap. He's only improved by about a 10th in his first sector, so he's found a little bit of time, but not a lot of time in that first sector. He's up by 2 seconds now in that middle sector, so as long as he can keep up with this, he should easily qualify. So Ventari should pull themselves a little bit further up. But of course, in this final sector, he dropped off a lot, so I'm very much expecting to see him speeding round and setting a very impressive lap time as Nailgout makes his way round up to the line. He sets a 1 minute 17.766. jumping ahead of his teammate Fern. Just jumping ahead. 16 thousandths ahead is how much he's jumped ahead. So not a huge amount, but it's still enough. At the moment, SET struggling slightly. 18.6 from their first driver. They got Zozo making his way around next. Got to see how he's got to do. Of course, everybody's just got to beat that. Roughly about 1 minute 20.1, I believe it would be. Gap at the moment. 1 minute 20.1 as an overall lap time. And across the line, it's a 1 minute 17.625. So I think SET have found themselves safe now in the grid. Just about. But it's all up to Antonio here. It's all up to him. If he can get a lap time better than probably a 1 minute 19, he would have qualified 26.0 for the first sector. It's not the best, but it's something. And that's the main thing for DLX, for them to qualify here tonight. It's just as long as they get something. We thought it was going to be incredibly close. It's now just about survival, just getting across the line, opening the rear wing as he heads down under the bridge. Now making his way up towards probably the hardest section on the entire track. Through the left, through the right, and through the left again. Over the curb, out of the corners, and incredible. Absolutely incredible. Mike, what is Caden doing on mediums? Interesting. But Antonio making his way round towards the line. We know it doesn't look like it's going to be quickest at all, but it's going to be something, and it's an 18.212 for his lap. And I've got to say, you've got to respect it, a 0.2, because that puts them perfectly qualified in there with an 18.1. So they might, I don't think they'll even be last either in it with an 18.1. I think they might, as it stands, I think they're very close to ESPL, who also set quite close of a lap time. Same for VTX, I think, as well. So a couple of them quite close. So I have to see. But Shadow, 25.7 for the first sector. 0.3 quicker, by the way. Over 0.3 quicker than what we just saw from Antonio in that first sector. That's how much he's gained. You can see the DLX car getting nicely out of the way there. Antonio getting very nicely out of the way for Shadow as he makes his way around. That's the one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to block anybody, because you could get reported and a penalty could go against you. 51.7 for that middle sector as well. This McLaren looking very much stuck to the ground. AERT pushing for possibly, they're looking to be number one, but they've got to find quite a lot more time. Shadow's looked very quick on this run so far. That first sector as well with a 25.7, wasn't it? I do believe. But across the line, it's going to be a 17.7. Just jumping ahead of the two Ventaris and his teammate Caden. But just jumping ahead of the Ventaris in those 0.7s. We've got a couple of drivers kind of across everything at the moment. Slowest lap time up there is quite slow. Caden's invalidated, so he's not going to be getting across that line again. I think we've got Noah Raza, who hasn't set a lap. Only driver yet to set a lap. And across the line, he does a 17.504. Crazy lap. Fern improves to P4 with a 17.666. As Fern retires. And he's disconnected. Oh, no. As Vettel improved to P5. Oh, no. I think Michael Heidrich just is just starting his lap, I do believe. Power as well, but unlucky there, because it looks like he's just disconnected. That's so unlucky. But I think for Ventari currently they're clearly safe. I don't think they wouldn't. I don't think they don't even need to do another lap. If I'm being completely honest, they don't even have to do another lap. But Archer is making his way around to complete another lap. He doesn't want to be slowest in this session. And across the line, he improves by 0.4 and only jumps to P11. So ahead of Antonio, but only by about 700. So about 65,000, sorry. So he's not that far in front. He's not that far in front at all. A couple of slow drivers making their way around. Rayan didn't improve on his lap, but it's FCT 1-2, and they're clearly, as it stands, going to be number one at the moment. Nobody's really close to them on lap time. I have to say, nobody's been close to Nail Gout, up by 16 thousandths in his first sector, so he's finding a little bit of time. He's up by now, a tenth and a half. Vettel has also retired and also disconnected. But that might also be them leaving, I think, knowing that they've qualified based off of those lap times. But Nail Gout making his way around. He's making his way around the final corner. He was up by a tenth and a half, so he's going to go into roughly about P3 as it stands. But he wants to try to go quickest. Does he go quickest? He finds a tenth and a half and he does go P3, but still over a tenth behind P2. Very interesting to see that not everybody is coming away perfectly from this. We've got DLX, who's currently on a lap. No, he's not. He's going slowly. So is his teammate, who's just about to do his out lap. I think Caden as well behind him. So we're going to watch with Antonio, who's got that McLaren, that AERT driver far in the distance. I think it's because these two don't feel safe where they are. But it's always about, you know, even if they know they've qualified, sometimes with teams it's about putting in a good performance. And in this case, for these guys, it's quite important. I mean, DLX at the moment showing up a couple of other drivers. I mean, P8 and P12 at the moment. Yes, not the best, but ultimately still there in lap time. Not too far away from that chance, especially DLX Power as well. He's in that fighting area for up to P7, maybe even up into the top 5, which is very possible. But we'll have to see. Antonio pushing hard on his lap so far. He's got that McLaren still behind him. He's up by 99 thousandths of a second, so he will go to P11, but he invalidates. And so we've got to look back to Caden. He's pushing hard. He did a purple first sector, and I think a purple middle sector as well. So Caden's doing a very strong run, and he's getting a little bit of slipstream from the Aston Martin front as he makes his way round to the final corner and heads up to the line now. Where is Caden going to go? He's into the pits. He's in the pits, and I think he wants something even just a bit better than that. But either way, everyone is in the pits right now. It's FCT to lead, 1-2. Everyone knows that they've now pretty much qualified. Everyone's qualified now from that top 10. Of course, they've all qualified with VTX being knocked out officially now. Unless there's massive penalties, which I haven't seen anything big happen. It's not like last season, the Season 5's qualifiers, where we actually had 2 crashes between drivers. We actually had more than that. We had multiple crashes across the 3 lobbies for the assists qualifiers. But either way, it's looking very interesting. We're looking for the first movement in the pits. Currently, everyone's just sitting there waiting. And we have got some movement. It is FCT, and it is Rayan Camporsi, the fastest driver from the first runs. He's been fastest driver all session, all this qualifying. And he's the first one out, which is interesting. I've got to say, I think we've also got a Ventari driver coming out. That will be Nail Gout on his way out as well. So two of the top 3 already on their way out onto the track. So that's a bit different to see. We don't usually see the leaders being the first ones out. It seems a little bit different today. Of course, for these two, haven't got a lot to lose. FCT know that they'll come out quickest in the qualifiers. They'll come out first on average, as they'll be putting in a 17.4 average. They'll be the quickest from all the qualifiers, including assists and no assists. As we see a Williams come out. That is... Who is that? Who's come out? It's Michael Heidrich who's made his way out onto the track. Noah Raza as well is on his way out. And I think we've also got an SET on their way out. So we've got quite a few drivers. Here comes Neil Gow. He's not waiting around at all for Ryan Campolsi. So he's just gone straight. He's just going straight for it. Not waiting at all. Weaving to get the tyres up to temperature. So right on board with Neil Gow on his lap. We'll see how he does. For Ventari, of course, they know they've qualified, but it's all about that look. It's all about that finish. He wants to at least get top 2. Let's see, as Nalgout goes on his way, on his lap, as he heads down towards turn number 1. On the brakes hard, throwing the car through. Right, left, very strong there from himself. That Red Bull just looks stuck to the ground through those first 2 corners. But he's not pushing. He's not pushing. He's going slowly on this lap, so he's not pushing. But I think Ryan Campolsi is. Yes, he is. He's down by 16 thousandths in his first sector, which was a 25.6. I've got to say, 25.6 is incredible from a driver for that first sector. Nobody's actually reached the 25.6s in either assists or no assists so far. Nobody's beaten that 25.6, up by 12 thousandths in the middle sector, but invalidates. Oh my god. But for Ryan Campolsi, he hasn't got a lot to lose. He is quickest by a decent chunk. So at the moment, he might just be okay. We've got Michael Heidrich, who, of course, he wants to improve so he can show everybody that they're more up to pace, because at the moment, they're in line with AERT and not a huge amount further ahead of DLX. That's the problem. DLX and SET are both they're all sitting in the same area. At the moment, FCT and Ventari are kind of on their own in this lobby. I thought it was going to be a lot closer in this lobby, to be fair. I thought it was going to be a lot closer. But it's not. Ryan Campolsi has now retired. So that means we've got 3 drivers who are finished. Michael Heidrich has invalidated. So that's going to be his qualifying over. He would have done a 17.5. He would have actually gone P3. So unlucky for himself and unlucky for AZR to have a bit of a tough run there. I think next we do have Archer coming round. He's got to do well here. He's invalidated as well. I just noticed that. I don't know how I didn't notice that at first. But then we've got Noah Raza, who's also invalidated. Has anybody actually gotten through? It is going to be Zozo. He is going to be the first now. Gout has now retired. He's done with his session. And across the line, Zozo goes P3. And a strong lap to end it. Power stays P8. His teammate stays P12. Caden stays P9 and Shadow stays in P7. So that is the second lobby over and finished. And a very interesting second lobby. I've got to say, very, very interesting. Now, pretty much, I think, we all know that VTX, out of the 11 teams, only 10 can make it through. The one team that won't be making it through is VTX. I can tell you that now. But this is how the second lobby has gone. Ryan Campolsi, followed by Noah Raza, then Zozo, Nailgout, Fern, Vettel, Shadow, Power, Caden, Michael Heidrich, Ajar, and Antonio. That is the second lobby over and done with. But I've got to say, quite interesting. In the end, very, very interesting to see. But with that, guys, that is the end of the stream. That is the end of this evening. And massive congratulations to all of the teams out there. Absolutely brilliant from all of them. Incredibly close driving that we've seen today. I will be sorting the results after the stream comes to an end. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also click on that notification bell to know about all of the content we do from short streams and videos. Make sure to go follow us on Twitter at FRLT F1. make sure to go and do that. Also, big thanks to our affiliates, Motorsport Connect and VRE, with their setup shop. Thank you to both of them. But with that, that is everything. We'll be back. Next week for no assists, but we'll be back also for assists on Wednesday at 8 p.m. So join us for that. Also, join us at 8 p.m. next Saturday for no assists. So with that, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Feel like we're falling away. Maybe I just need to feel nothing to make it easier to turn away and leave. Maybe we're fanning the flame. So why do I keep holding out my hand to get burned? I don't wanna clash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away, yeah. I don't wanna crash anymore. I can hear the ghosts in the walls. It's telling me to run away.
Here in Monza, and it is a race opening victory for Eve. I'm still battling with Kuba.
You said you don't know me well, but I'm your angel in white. I'll be close if you come. I'll be just behind you. You're not on the list, but I can get you inside. Use your mind, listen to my voices of guide you. Give yourself over, yeah, you don't wanna fight. If you do, I'm gonna bid you out.
But he's gone wide! He's going incredible!
Ticket, you're doing alright. And if you don't trust it, hold it up to the light. So quiet, try to hide it. If a new thought formed, we would swallow it down. Empty stares, never question the illusion. If you play alone, they will leave you to drown. Stand up, 'cause we are the movement. Don't stop, straight into the dark. Wake up, 'cause the system